This is the flat dumbbell bench press. So this is a very simple beginner exercise that you can do whether you're very advanced, very strong, or whether you're just starting the gym. So the first thing is to make sure you rest your dumbbells on your knees when you're starting, because most of the time you'll be doing this in the gym by yourself. Lie back and kick the dumbbells up all in one motion. And up to the top. Good. Okay. And the first point, you can start doing your reps there, Limo. The first point is you want to keep your feet planted into the ground and behind your knees. This is a really, really important point that a lot of people get wrong when they're dumbbell pressing. So either in line with your knees or slightly behind. Neutral grip, I prefer for dumbbell pressing most of the time, or semi-neutral. Very rarely do I use pronated unless I'm using a barbell. So chest up, shoulders back. You want to screw your feet into the ground, push your knees out as hard as you can and squeeze your glutes. Head back into the bench and push your head into the bench as you're doing the reps. And as the reps start to get harder and you're going towards failure, you want to push your head as hard as you can into the bench, your upper back hard as you can into the bench, and that's where you're going to get strength from. So instead of thinking push the weight up, think push your back and your head down into the bench. Keep your hips on the bench, and let's go one more rep. Squeeze up, and when you finish, don't be afraid to just bring them down and just drop them down. Perfect. This is the seated cable row. Okay, so you sit back a little bit further, keep your chest up, and you can start your set there. Lean forward a little bit more, and a little bit more again, and squeeze chest up. And what I love about the orange handles is they change around your anatomy. So no matter how wide you are or narrow your shoulders are, for the girls using them, they'll rotate around you. So if you're using a smaller handle, a baby handle, it's like very rigid and it's not optimal for recruiting the muscles in a way that's best for you. If you use the orange handles, you can see there that it's moving around him and you can feel your lats working way, way more. Just squeeze tight as you can, chest up. And what we're trying to do is keep our elbows tight to the sides, our chest up, and we're going to feel our lats contract far harder. This is the best exercise you can do for feeling your lats contract. And this, like a lat pull down, you can work the muscles very, very hard, very safely. So I use this exercise a lot, supersetted with a push exercise like bench pressing or dips. And you can really train this very hard to failure. The spine's not loaded. You can get plenty of blood into your lats, and your shoulders then will feel far healthier doing heavier pressing. It's also perfect for drop sets. And pull back and drop the weight. Go. So at the end of your 8, 10, 12 reps, drop the weight by 2 or 3 pins on your final set and do a drop set. And I would use drop sets on seated cable rows nearly every time I use the exercise as the perfect warm-up for your lats on back day. Okay. I'm done. This is the Poliquin lat raise. So elbows start, chest up, shoulders back, and go. So the way I'd coach this is in 3 movements. So you have 1, 2, and 3. And the reason you'd use this lat raise as opposed to other lat raises is when you're starting off in the gym and you do lat raises, you can be working everything but your shoulders. So you can be using swinging, your hands even being in the right position when you're in here or when you get to the top, and using your upper back for momentum and your hips. So this, especially the seated variation, you're able to isolate your shoulders far more effectively. And it allows you to get up to the top part of the movement where the delts are working the hardest and completely safely or in a very controlled manner. So when you're at the top position, you're working the delts the hardest and you're in the most control. As opposed to a normal lat raise, a lot of the time when you're learning the movement, you can struggle to even get to the top, and when you do get to the top, you're using momentum to get yourself there, and there's very little control, so your delts aren't doing any of the work. So I'd usually pair this exercise with something like a band pull apart or face pull, and you completely smoke your shoulders. You'll never feel a burn like it in your shoulders. There's three sets of 12 to 15 reps. Chest up, hold on. This is the standing face pull, so just put your hands the other way, hands that way. Okay, and I prefer that grip. You can do it both ways, but I prefer this grip, as I think you can externally rotate a little bit more when you have your hands like this. So head up, or head back, chest up, and I want you to pull the rope a little bit higher, so up to your hairline. And the higher that you pull it, the more that you're going to externally rotate. So external rotation means this position for the shoulder, and that's the opposite position to where you'd be in your desk job and you'd be bent forward like this. So if you're like me and you're spending too much time at the laptop or the phone, and which is pretty much everyone at this day and age, this is a super exercise for balancing that out and improving your posture. So also for heavier press and movements, the strength of your external rotation really matters. So making sure that you're doing this exercise and other exercises for the rear delts once or twice a week will make a huge difference to the health of your shoulders long term. If you're doing heavier pressing like bench press, dumbbell press, or dips. Chest up, shoulders back, and keep it up high as possible. That's the position you're trying to get to at the end, to make sure you have that external rotation. Good, well done. This is the 75-degree dumbbell press. Okay, so start with the weight on your knees, and then you use your knees to kick it up. So up, and make sure starting off, we're going to go with a neutral grip, and you want your feet, make sure they're behind your knees. If your feet are behind your knees or even in line with your knees, you're going to be in a very stable position. And this is often ignored when you're using a bench for a flat bench press or any of the angles up along. Is make sure that you're glued to the seat and you're in a very stable position. After that, I like the neutral grip for the biggest range of motion possible. So chest up, shoulders back, bring your elbows down really low, punch up hard and fast. Chest up, shoulders back, and punch up hard and fast. So a lot of the time when people are pressing, they use a pronated grip, which is a lot harder on the shoulder than a neutral grip, and the range of motion is usually shorter as well. So a neutral grip is what I use most of the time, especially with new clients who are using dumbbells. I'd only ever use the pronated grip when you have to use the pronated grip with a barbell. And chest up, shoulders back, keep your bum glued to the seat, push your head into the bench, and punch up hard and fast. Good, well done. This is the chest supported row with a supinated grip. So you can start there. So very simply, if you use a supinated grip, your elbows are going to be closer to your sides as you're rowing. If you use a pronated grip, your elbows are going to flare out a little bit more, and that's going to use more upper back. So a supinated grip is going to use your lats more, and you can see there, it's almost like a seated cable row. You can see his lats contracting really, really hard at the top. So with a chest supported row machine like this, you want to make sure you're getting a big stretch at the bottom. So you let your shoulders come forward and down at the bottom. And the simplest tip that makes the biggest difference at the start, or anytime you use a chest supported row, is that you actually use the chest support. So you're not coming off it and cheating off it, that you actually lean into the chest support. Might leave you feeling a little bit out of breath or a little bit uncomfortable, and then you drive your elbows back from there. Let's go for 3 more. Really low, squeeze back. Really low and squeeze back. Good, excellent, hold up. Super. This is the lat pull down with a supinated grip. Okay, so let's hop in there. So as you're starting, make sure you're fixed in with the pads so that they're not too high or they're not too low, so you're not sliding off. And that'll make a big difference as you're going through the harder sets. So start the reps. So with the supinated grip, there's going to be a bigger range of motion than the pronated grip. So you want to pull it down into your chest, in against your chest, and keep your chest up high. With the big mistake a lot of people make at the start is pull it past their chest and leaning forward like this. So keep the chest up high and pull the bar in against your chest. And this can be very helpful for learning your first chin up, or getting strong enough to learn your first chin up. So chest up, shoulders back. And because you're using a supinated grip, you're going to use a lot more arms than you would with a pronated grip. So it's often easier for people to learn at the start. You want to drive your elbows down by your sides. So as you drag your elbows down, you're going to feel your lats more. Chest up, drive your elbows down. Good. And this exercise, like the seated cable row, you can train it to failure very, very safely. So when you're using a lat pull down, you want to train it very, very hard. And I'd be using, on my third set, I'd always be using a drop set. So I'd go to failure with a weight for maybe 10 to 12 reps. And then I drop the weight by 20%, 30% and do as many as I could with that as well. Okay, good. This is the band pull apart. So this is one of my favorite exercises and I do it every week at least once or twice a week. So hands straight forward. So it's for the rear delts, and the rear delts is one of those muscles that you can't really overtrain. No one ever has rear delts that are too strong. And the benefits of having strong rear delts and external rotators is the chances of injury risk of the shoulder is just way, way down. So if you're doing face pulls and band pull aparts once or twice a week, you'll have far healthier shoulders. So a couple of coaching points with the band pull aparts is you want to keep your hands down and your wrists strong, which will get harder and harder as the set goes on because you'll feel like going back like that a little bit more. So chest up, shoulders back. And I'd be doing 100 reps once or twice a week. So 100 reps could be like 50, 30, 20, 5 sets of 20, whatever really, as long as you're getting 100 reps in. So you want to keep tension on the band, so even as he comes into the middle, the band still has tension on it. And that's the mistake a lot of people make, as they come in here, so the band loses tension. So let's go for 5 more, squeeze back. And after 1-2 sets, you should feel and see in the mirror that your rear delts are getting quite pumped and working really, really hard. And this is another exercise where it's very easy to feel the rear delts working because you're using a band. Okay.